Hi there, Coni Meyers with Kickbutt Leadership. I'm so happy that you're back joining us in our second session. And I want to introduce my co-host.
Kim White with the My Sexy Business team.
And this conference is all about Kickbutt leadership. And a lot of people say, well, why are you calling it Kickbutt? And I'm calling it Kickbutt because it's really about mindfulness meets vision, opportunity, and engagement. And when you combine mindfulness with vision, opportunity, engagement, you really are the best you can be of a good leader. So the lady that I have joining us now is a new acquaintance. I've only met her about a week or so ago, and I am so excited to have her on because she was on the Hope to Hope conference that Kim did, and I was so impressed with what she had to say and what she shared that I asked her to come back and be on my conference as well. So welcome, Kelly Cornelsen. How are you?
Hey guys, thank you so much. This is such a privilege.
Well, I just loved what you had to say on the Hope to Hope, and I really think, and after hearing a little bit more about what you do and everything, you are truly what I would call a kick butt leader.
Oh, well, thank you. I would agree with that.
And there you go.
Some days better than others, but you got to own it. So yes, I would agree with that. Sometimes I need to kick my own butt, but yes.
So let me ask you, and this is a question I ask every single person I interview. Were you a leader as a child?
Well, I've actually done a lot of thought about this recently because I've been trying to discern some of my character traits and what's my sweet spot. And so I started thinking about, as a child, was I a leader? And I think that when I remembered I told you one of the examples I'd totally forgotten about is I used to, as probably an 8-year-old, decided that we would have a neighborhood beauty pageant. And I was in charge, and I even got all the little boys in the neighborhood part of it. I gave everyone their assignment. I came up with the costumes. I orchestrated the whole thing. I directed the whole thing. And so some may say I was bossy, and maybe I was, but I'm going to say that was leadership skills just coming out in the very beginning. And I would say that has continued through my whole life. So that has not changed. I would say I've learned to refine a little bit. And I think that as we get older and we have more experience, if we will look into ourselves and be objective as to how we operate and how we do things, that we can actually refine that leadership and become a true kick butt leader in the best way.
Awesome. So what would you say were the one or two skills that you had as an 8-year-old that you've refined in your current lifetime?
Well, I think that there was a time, even as a young mom, that I look back and I go, I was really bossy. And some people call that choleric. I wanted to be in control. And one thing that's brought that to my attention is I have a daughter who is 31 and young married. And I look at her and I'm like, I think maybe I was a lot like her at that age. And she's awesome, but make no mistake about it, she is a leader. And I'm like on the softer end. My husband said the other day, she's a commercial interior designer, and I love design, all things design. And people have forever said, y'all need to do a business. And she's flipping houses and stuff. And Jeff goes, my husband Jeff, said, y'all would be great together because Lindsay could be like the project manager and she would make sure that everybody got stuff done. And he said, then you can come behind them and make them so happy that they're there. And so I feel really good about that because I really believe that is a skill. And it's not it's a sincere skill because I've changed my mindset, and it's not about control or being in charge or managing, but it's trying to figure out where people are and how to have the best outcome where you're happy and I'm happy, and it's a great project. Does that make sense?
Oh, it totally makes sense. And I think that's a really important point because, when you go back and you look at the history of leadership, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, it was all about more of a dictatorship, telling people what to do. but that mindset has totally changed now, where it's really it's um, a team concept. And so what you're talking about is you've refined and you've grown your leadership skills to adapt to what is important today.
Well, it makes such a difference, and it gives such a more successful, maybe not just successful, but more um, positive outcome for everyone. We can have the same outcome maybe with this type of leadership, but what if we could all enjoy the process? Now, are there going to be problems no matter what you're doing? Is everything perfect? No. My husband, he's so awesome. He's why I've stayed in business for almost 30 years, because he gives me these little talks. Now I number them. I go, this is talk number 542. There are no perfect people. There are no perfect things. Things will always go wrong, but I can choose how I handle it. And when I'm working with people that, for instance, maybe are still figuring that out, I have learned to come back and try to discern, okay, what's their point of view? What are they needing that they're not getting? Is there a way I can reframe this so they feel like we're both on the same team? Now, that doesn't always work. Sometimes you just got to go, this is not working out. But that would be my goal, is that would happen. And I think it's doable.
Well, I agree. I think it's really important that first of all, we find the right people to have on our team, not just to take everybody that comes along, but
I
also,
totally agree.
yeah, but also to really, when you have the right people, to be able to help them become the leaders, so then they can bring in leaders. That's really the ultimate goal, is to have people to come in that can become leaders and then bring their leaders in underneath them. So
Yes. And honestly, I really feel like I could boil it all down to two words, and it's servant leadership. I believe that it's coming leadership from an aspect of, how may I serve you? How can I make this better? It's not about me. It's not about what's in it for me. It's not about the title. It's not, you can get so caught up in all of that. And you know what? You're not defined by your title. And that, when we serve others, there's just like some secret sauce in there, because it totally changes your perspective and totally changes how people will respond to you. And it gives you a totally different attitude. Instead of, what is in this for me? How can I serve these people better? How can what I'm bringing, how can it serve somebody else?
Very good.
yeah. So how do you go about finding team members for your team? And I hear you have a very large team.
Well, I would say this, that it is not easy. And there's a difference. You can find people for your team, but finding the right people for your team. And I would say this is something that I still just agonize over and pour over and ask God to please give me the right people. And, there are people who come into your business, into your life for a season. There are people who come and they stick with you for the long haul, and there are people who come and they're only with you for just a minute. But I really believe for whenever they're there for a reason, and that whatever has brought them there, that it's my job to figure that out so that I can enrich their life for that period of time, whatever time it would be. And then my heart is to find other leaders to bring them along who have that same heart to serve others and to make a difference. That it's not just about you, it's not just about the numbers, but it's, how can I make a difference and how can I serve? And I will tell you, it's not easy, and it's not as simple as grabbing a bunch of people and throwing them against the wall. It's a lot of prayer, asking God to open my eyes and my ears to listen, because we're around people all the time, and sometimes we can check out and not be aware. And so when I meet people, it's just, I want to be aware, so that, is this a door that's opening for me to build a friendship with them? My goal is always to come in and to serve people, and not to come in business first. There are people that I know and love that nothing would make my life happier than for them to be on my team with me. But you know what? It's not about that. It's about something so much bigger. And I think we just need to have a bigger purpose, to know our why, and then to have a bigger purpose. But then those that I have on my team, I heard someone saying something the other day, Kim, I think you were on this call, that says not everybody gets to work with me. And I've come a long way in 28 years as an entrepreneur, from trying to work with everybody to realizing, you know what? It's a privilege to work with me because I'm so passionate about people and what we do. And not everybody feels that way, and that is okay. So I
Yeah.
need to take people where they are, receive them as they are, not try to make them into what I want them to be, but that to bring alongside the ones that are meant to grow. And you know what? When I started my business, I never dreamed in a million years that this is what I would do for 28 years. I was teaching school K through 12 music. We had our second baby who had asthma, and we had 5 accounts at Baptist Hospital. And my business found me, and my goal was to make $500 a month and pay off those bills and be done. I never dreamed, but you just never know when you're open to opportunity and getting to know people. And then God says, hey, guess what? You've got these really great skills that I kind of put inside you even before you were born. And so if you will work with me together, we can really impact people's lives. And that is what has kept me going for 28 years through the ups and the downs, because it's not just about the title, and it's not just about what I do.
Well, I think you bring up a really, really important point that I talk about in one of the chapters of Kickbutt Leadership course, and that is purpose and why. When you discover your purpose and your why, and you are open to the possibilities, that's when
Yes.
you can step into whatever that vision is for yourself. And if you've been doing this for 28 years, obviously you found your why very early on.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that's huge. And then the right people are attracted to you
I
because,
believe I believe that too. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, with what you're doing, I mean, I think that people are going to, first of all, people buy into the person before they buy into the vision. And
Yes.
they have to buy into you. Well, obviously, you've done a very good job of having your vision and having your purpose be known, and people being able to see you for who you are, as well as then buying into what your vision is.
Hmm. I think you're exactly right. And, I think it boils down to, a lot of this just boils down to who you are and being authentic, because it's not about acting in a certain way. It's like, truly, I believe I'm on this journey. And Kim knows me. It's the first time she ever saw me, I was talking about being a hot mess, and I can be a hot mess with anybody. And I have good days and I have bad days. And I have to just keep moving forward and realize that no matter what that I'm going through, that it's developing my character to help me be the person I'm supposed to be on the other end. I believe that if we were given today the ultimate success that we desire, and God just said, here you go, I think we wouldn't be able to handle it, because we wouldn't have the character. And I think that everything we're going through on the road of experience, no matter how long that takes, is to prepare us to be able to handle that on the other side and to maximize that, because it's those hard times that truly develops you and develops your character. And you've got to have or I feel like I have to have, I'm not quitting mentality. You know what the easy thing would be? Is just to quit. Go, I'm done. I mean, you're dealing with people. People are crazy sometimes. And sometimes I have learned I was talking about qualifying people and disqualifying people. Many of them that I've disqualified, they don't know they were disqualified. But, it's just like you get to a little closer, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to back up. That's not the person I'm supposed to be working with. That's just, they've got their own stuff that they need to be working on, and I'm not about the drama, and
And
so I'm going to move on.
I want to say this about you, because I do know how you are, and you are a great leader. And to disqualify someone does not mean that you don't love them and you don't actually still support them. It just,
Absolutely.
you don't open up the access for the drama. Like you don't open
Well,
up
it's
this.
true.
So I think that's a big point to like say about you is that you're very transparent. I love when you talk about being a hot mess because that makes you relatable to all the rest of us hot messes.
Well,
And
and let me say this about being transparent. One thing I learned a long time ago in my family dynamic is that I am the truth teller. And for about 25 years, maybe 30 years, I really saw that as a negative, that it was a character flaw, that I should just be dancing around and pretending like everything's great and working on yourself, because it's all of this is part of it. And I believe if you quit today and went to a different company or started a different business, you'd be right back in the same place with the same issues, because this is what we're
Absolutely.
supposed to work through. And what I have learned is that being transparent is what I'm called to do, and I believe that it's who we should be, and that we need to be honest in our interactions with people. And by that too, we're able to say, this is what I want to do with my life or my business. And you know what? That is helps me help that person so much better, because I can support her. She can be my best friend. We can eat for hamburgers on Friday. But like you said, there's a limited amount of time and energy. And the older I get, the more I'm aware of that, is that I've got like a limited amount. And so, by 4 o'clock this afternoon, I'm probably going to have to lie down with the dogs for a minute, because I'm going to see Rachel Hollis Made for More tonight. If you're not going to that, it's in every city at 7:30 tonight, and it's going to be amazing. It's a movie about her Rise conference. And so I'm going to go to dinner with my kids, and we're going to go to that. And so I've learned there's a limited amount in my tank. And if you're always giving, 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 you can't pour out from an empty tank. And you've got to be able to have people in your life like y'all are to me. Is I'm so inspired by your leadership that you help remind me, oh, this is why I keep going. This is why I do what I do.
So, so what would you like your legacy for your personal as well as your professional life to be?
That is so interesting, because I had a talk with myself yesterday about legacy, and I haven't used the word legacy in a long, long time. But I believe that my legacy when I'm gone is that I would love for it to be that there would be generations of young women and young men that whose lives were changed, were impacted, their families were healthier and more whole because they were friends, because they had an interaction with me. And it has nothing to do with dollars and cents. Could I say, yes, I would like to have $1 billion and build a building? And that may or may not ever happen. But my legacy is, and my calling is to pour into these young people. When I say young people, they're like,
Okay.
married with kids, and it's all relative. They're not 18-year-olds, although I do have some of those. But I feel that that's my calling, and that there will come a time that part of what I've been able to pour into them, that when I'm gone, that they will come back to that and go, oh, that really impacted my life and made a difference. That's what I would love.
I think that's huge. I think that's absolutely, and that's exactly, I think, what we all need to aspire to is to leave something behind and leave it better than when we got there. Whether it's
Yes.
personal life or our professional life, just making it better and knowing that we maybe have had an impact in somebody's life. Because if we can do that, then we've lived well.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And so ultimately, I mean, that's what keeps me going. Because, I mean, there are days when I just want to go, I'm done. I should be so much further along. I'm too old. It's too late. And those are just lies. And so I have to come back and go, no, that is a lie. It is not too late, and I'm not too old. And everything I've been through, even doing the backyard pageant in my backyard as a little girl, all of that was leading up to something. And I don't even know where that goes. I did to see, but I'm open to the journey, and I'm open to open doors. And when the door opens, like you invited me to come today, it was like, okay, yes, just say yes. I'll do it.
Awesome. Well, we're definitely happy that you did, for sure, Kelly.
Yes.
What when you have somebody on your team and they are stuck, or if they are fearful, what kind of guidance do you give them?
Well, fear is probably the biggest thing and the biggest topic over 28 years, and still is to this day, that I discuss with people and with myself, because I think that we all experience fear. And, fear is false evidence appearing real. And so we just decide that this is true, but that may or may not be true. And we decide how it's going to work out, and we don't even know. And so I think that we have to, first of all, recognize where fear comes from, and recognize that fear is a liar and wants me to stay discouraged and paralyzed. Because if I'm afraid, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to stay stuck. And then I have to be brave, and I have to be willing to do one thing. Just one. Just one. It could be a tiny little thing. But you know what? When you do that one little thing, then you're like, okay, maybe I could do one more little thing. And then surround yourself with like-minded people who have a mindset to grow and to build and to get out of their comfort zone and to expand their influence. And no matter what business they're in, how y'all know that you are surrounded with people just like yourselves, and you have got a growth mindset, and you are wanting to make an impact. You are making an impact with all that you share through leadership, and connecting with people that are like-minded like you. We're going to bring each other along, and everybody gets better.
Well, and I think that's another really, really good point, is that as you surround yourself with the right people, and that it's like one of Kim's favorite saying is, as the water rises, the boats rise. And as we all
Yes, that
grow
is
and
so
expand,
good.
we can really the water can get very high.
Yes. And I think we have to be careful, because I think there are people out there who can't swim. I took lifeguarding class when I was a teenager. How hilarious is that? But the first thing they taught us was, if somebody's trying to grab you, even if they're drowning, you have to push yourself away from them, because they will take you under and you will drown, even though you're there to save them. And I think it's exactly the same thing. And that you have to be very mindful about the people that you hang with. And there are people that we can love, but we can love them from a distance. You are not called to be that closely connected with every single person who is in your circle. And not everybody's going to get what you do. Not everybody's going to understand, but it's okay, because you're not called to please them. You have a calling, and your job is to move forward with your calling.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things that many people have a hard time understanding, is that it's okay if not everybody likes you. It's
Yeah.
okay if everybody is not your flavor. That's okay. And that
And can I tell you, I still struggle with that. I've said all that I've said to you. Can I tell you, when someone quits, can I tell you, it still breaks my heart. And after all the years, my husband will say, Kelly, what did they do? And I go, nothing. He goes, what have you lost? And I go, but she could have been so awesome. And it was because I wanted it more for this person than she wanted it for herself. That she had a need in her life that
I want
we
to
could
take
help.
that to, like, for example, a corporate situation
Yes.
where really fit what I call the avatar for the team, and how they sometimes will bring the team down versus pulling it up. And if, as a leader, if you don't address that right away, then it pulls you down because you have less respect because you have not stepped in and done something about it. And it doesn't matter whether you're in a big corporate situation or whether I have a lot of friends that are going to be watching this that are real estate people. And if you don't have the right team members, for a real estate agent, most of the time, if their team consists of people outside of their actual, they're not employing them. It's like a mortgage broker, or it's a title person, or it's an inspector, or a handyman, or something like that. It's really critical that you have the right team members, even if they're not directly a part of your immediate team.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And I think it's really important to connect with people, outside of just your, sometimes we get in our bubble. And I think we got to get out of the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
because in the bubble, if we all think alike, dress alike, like the same things, well, that's great for a minute. But oh my gosh, if you want to expand your influence, you got to get out of the bubble. And you've got to connect with those people everywhere.
That is such a good point, because I spent the last, 20 plus years, really, I've never been a real estate agent myself, but really involved in the real estate community, in the businesses that I've done. But so many times, if all you do is go to real estate functions, then you're surrounding yourself. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that if that's all you do, then that bubble is all around the opinions within the real estate industry. Where if you, that's why it was important for me I have some incredible real estate leaders that are coming on to this conference. But it was also important for me to bring on other leaders in other industries that are just as powerful, because I think we can all learn from one another. And
I totally agree.
I didn't want it to be all one industry or all one thing. I wanted it to be a huge variety so that we can all learn something different from each one another.
I think that's so good. And what I'm finding is, because I've been really intentional about that for about the last 8 months, and getting to know other leaders and other businesses. And what I find is that we really give each other perspective. And I see a lot of character traits in common that you go, oh, okay, I see. You look around the table and you're like, I get it. I get it. These are the things that these people all have in common, even though their businesses may be totally different. And they're the ones that are moving forward when others may not be. And, that's okay, but I'm not going that way.
Right.
Jeff was fussing at me because we sold our house, my cute house that, we sold it, and we're in a temporary apartment, and we're trying to find another house to buy. And I'm like, oh, I wish that, and Jeff's like, stop it. Quit looking back. You're not going that way. We are not going that way. And I'm like, you're right. And you know what? Everything I'm doing in the middle of right now, everything I own pretty much is in storage. And I'm sitting here in my little cubby hole. I do have my good light. I did bring it with me. But, I'm excited to see where I'm going to end up, and how everything that I've gone through this season, I'm going to be able to use this for another purpose to enrich other people's lives. I know that. I don't know yet how, but I know it'll happen.
I love, though, that your life got simple, because of those life happenings, your life got simple enough for you to slow down, because you are going to speed up.
Yes.
The things that you needed to concentrate on right now in this season, God has provided you the time almost. It's opened up a not a lack of responsibility, but a different.
Well, I've been able to really hyper focus on some of the projects that I'm working on, which I might not have had that time to be able to do that. And I'm I just feel like we're all, if we're truly honest with ourselves, I feel like we're all going through transition as far as our mindset and our priorities and what do we need to be focusing on. And so I've been able to really hyper focus on those things because I have the freedom to do that right now. I will be super excited to find out where I'm going to live. That would be amazing. But the real estate market here is crazy. So for you real estate people, Dallas, Fort Worth, it's crazy. In Dallas, it's really crazy. The houses sell sometimes in a minute. So I'm excited to see. But, we're looking at changing everything up. And I don't even know. But I know my purpose. I know my why. I know my calling. And so no matter where I am or what I'm doing, that doesn't change.
She's on an adventure.
She's on a journey.
I am. It is an adventure. You are right.
Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on and speaking with us about it. As I have my Kickbutt Leadership Master Course, which this is the launch for, and you have touched on so many of the points in that course. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate. Because
that's so good.
You did it without me even prompting you. You just kind of talked about the course. So I appreciate it very much.
Girl, thank you so much for inviting me. This is my privilege, and I'm just loving getting to know you girls. And Kim and I connected a few months ago, and it's just been such a blessing. And she introduced me to you, and I just am excited for all of us to see how we're going to impact leadership for the future because you're making a difference.
Well, thank you so much. We'll put your information in the comments on the video. So
that'd be great.
If somebody's in the area or wants to reach out to you, they can.
Yes, they can find me. Instagram's a great way to find me. And actually, my website is coming soon. I've been working on it for days. But you will be able to find me at kellycornelsen.com. And it will have everything there. So, but you can find me on all the social media links at this point. So I would love to connect.
That sounds really fantastic. So, and I did want to mention this is the launch for my Kickbutt Leadership Master Course. It's something I've been working on for 7 years. Well, it's the culmination of the journey and the adventure I've been on for 7 years. And you'll be able to check that out. We'll have the link up on the web on the comments just shortly. So this is
Kim White with the My Sexy Business Team.
And I'm Coni Meyers with Kickbutt Leadership. And we'll be back at 12 o'clock Central Time with Christine Lee.
Thank you, guys.